in the quiet, sun-drenched suburbs of a small American town, where the oak trees cast long, dancing shadows across manicured lawns and the air smells of freshly cut grass and distant backyard barbecues, a story of an extraordinary soul bond began. It was a story not written in ink, but in paw prints and tiny footprints, woven together over years of shared sunlight and whispered secrets. At the heart of this tale lived Cooper, a golden retriever whose fur held the glow of 1,000 summer sunsets, and Leo, a boy who entered the world just as Cooper was reaching his prime. To the neighbors, they were simply a pet and a child, but within the walls of their home, they were the architects of a world built entirely on unconditional love. When Leo was first brought home from the hospital, the atmosphere of the house shifted. Cooper, who had previously been the undisputed prince of the household, sensed the change immediately. He didn't react with jealousy or confusion. Instead, he approached the nursery with a solemnity that suggested he knew exactly what his new mission in life would be. As the parents placed the tiny, swaddled bundle into the crib, Cooper sat at the doorway, his tail giving a single, rhythmic thud against the floor. He watched. He listened. From that first night, he became a silent sentinel. While the parents slept fitfully, Cooper remained awake, his ears twitching at every soft sigh or rustle of a blanket. He had decided, in the mysterious way that dogs do, that this tiny human was his to protect, his to guide, and his to love. As Leo transitioned from a sleeping infant to a curious crawler, the bond deepened into an active partnership. Their American home became a vast landscape for exploration. The kitchen tiles were frozen tundras to be crossed, the living room rug was a grassy meadow, and the space under the dining table was a secret cave. During the long afternoons of tummy time, a phase most babies find frustrating, Leo would often press his face into the floor and cry. But Cooper had a remedy. He would slowly slide his massive, soft body across the floor until he was nose to nose with the baby. He would let out a long, huffing breath, a canine sigh that seemed to say, "I am here, little one. Keep going." Inspired by the presence of his furry giant, Leo would push himself up, his small hands sinking into Cooper's thick mane for support. They spent hundreds of hours in this silent communion, a masterclass in patience and encouragement. The transition to walking was perhaps the most beautiful chapter of their early years. Leo didn't rely on plastic walkers or the hands of his parents as much as he relied on the steady, warm flank of his best friend. He would grab handfuls of Cooper's golden fur, pulling himself up to a standing position with a toothless grin of triumph. Cooper, a dog who usually loved to bolt after squirrels in the yard, became the embodiment of stillness. He would stand like a statue, bracing his weight so the toddler wouldn't fall. When Leo finally took his first steps, it was toward Cooper, who waited just a few feet away with a wagging tail that acted like a metronome for the boy's shaky pace. They moved through the house as a single unit, the boy and his golden shadow, a sight that brought tears to the eyes of anyone who witnessed the sheer purity of their devotion. As the years rolled by, their communication evolved into a private language. They didn't need words to understand each other's needs. A certain tilt of Leo's had meant it was time to play hide-and-seek in the backyard. A specific nudge from Cooper's wet nose meant it was time for a nap. In the heat of the American July, they were a fixture of the neighborhood, running through the spinning silver arcs of the lawn sprinklers. Leo's high-pitched, melodic laughter would mingle with Cooper's deep, joyful barks, creating a symphony of pure childhood bliss. When the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in bruises of purple and orange, they would collapse onto the porch together, exhausted and happy, the boy's head resting on the dog's rising and falling chest. Their relationship was also one of profound emotional support. In the way that only a dog can, Cooper sensed Leo's moods before the boy even understood them himself. On the days when Leo was frustrated by a broken toy or a scraped knee, Cooper was the first responder. He wouldn't just offer a lick. He would lean his entire weight against the boy's side, a dog hug that provided a grounding force of security. During Leo's occasional timeouts or moments of solitude, Cooper was never far away. He would sit outside the closed door, his nose pressed against the crack, letting out a soft whimper to let Leo know he wasn't alone in his troubles. In return, Leo became the steward of Cooper's well-being. He learned to fill the water bowl, to brush the golden coat until it shone like a new coin, and to always save the last bite of his peanut butter sandwich for his partner in crime. They grew up together against the backdrop of changing seasons. They experienced the magic of first snowfalls, where Cooper would act as a furry snowplow for Leo's sled. On Halloween, they were a duo, the lion and his tamer, or the knight and his dragon. In the quiet moments of the evening, when the house grew still and the fire crackled in the hearth, they were always found in the same spot. Leo would read his first books aloud, pointing at the pictures and explaining the stories to Cooper, who listened with a tilt of his head as if he understood every syllable. To Cooper, the stories didn't matter. Only the voice did. To Leo, the audience was perfect because it was non-judgmental and infinitely patient. This was the American dream in its most soulful form, not a house or a car, but the profound connection between two living beings who had decided to walk through life side by side. Their friendship was a reminder that love doesn't require a shared species or even a shared vocabulary. It only requires presence. As Leo stepped into his school years and Cooper entered his twilight, the bond only grew more sacred. The dog's muzzle began to turn a soft, snowy white, and his pace slowed, but the light in his eyes when Leo walked through the door remained as bright as it was on that very first day in the nursery. They had built a sanctuary of two. In a world that often felt fast and loud, their friendship was a quiet, golden garden. It was a story of a boy who learned kindness from a creature who couldn't speak, and a dog who found his soul's purpose in the laughter of a child. They were, and would always be, the architects of each other's joy, living proof that the most beautiful things in life are often the ones that start with a simple wag of a tail and a tiny hand reaching out in total trust. Their journey continues, a steady, rhythmic heartbeat in the house where they first met, a love story that will echo in Leo's heart long after the golden fur has faded, a legacy of a friendship that was, quite simply, meant to be. As the years flowed by like a gentle river, their bond only grew more profound. Cooper, now a silver-muzzled sage, and Leo, a boy with a heart shaped by canine loyalty, became the neighborhood's living legend of friendship. Every evening, they sat beneath the old oak tree, watching the horizon fade into twilight. Cooper's slowing pace was met with Leo's patient stride, a silent pact of devotion. They remained two halves of a single soul, proving that while time changes all things, a first love, born from a cold nose and a warm heart, is the only thing that truly lasts forever. Together forever, their souls remained entwined, a golden legacy of love that would never truly end.